Another doozy of a press conference today, and what's going on with Trump's ankles? It's the Mary Trump Show. Let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to the Mary Trump Show. I am Tara Setmayer. I'm not Mary. Mary is still under the weather, but I am happy to be here again to fill in and hang out with you guys. So thank you for spending time with me today. We're going to dive right into it because it has been another doozy of a news day. And if you saw what I saw, oh, Miss Caroline Leavitt, the worst, the White House press secretary's White House press briefing today was just an excruciating experience of bullshit as usual with her. But she had a lot of questions to ask. And what was top of mind? Yep, it's Jeffrey Epstein. It ain't going away. We are now on Thursday, and it's been a full week of this disaster for Donald Trump. He cannot shake this. It is an albatross, and it's frankly a controversy of their own making because they cannot get their lies straight. So today, Caroline Leavitt, with her little crucifix on and her snarky, bitchy attitude, of course, went straight to the press corps, taking it to them, blaming it on everybody else. But the scandal is of their own making, as I said, which is just the most infuriating part of all of this because they think everybody's stupid. They think that we don't hear what they say, that there aren't tweets and videos and photographs and interviews to show that they're full of it. But once again, now, since Monday, Donald Trump has called his people stupid. I mean, well, okay. Blamed it on some kind of a Democratic hoax. So now it's not about that there aren't any files, it's that it's a Comey Obama hoax or something. Roll the clip.
There's been a lot of discussion about the Epstein Files and the president's comments yesterday calling it a hoax. Can you clarify which part of the Epstein hoax is the hoax part?
The president is referring to the fact that Democrats have now seized on this as if they ever wanted transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, which is an asinine suggestion for any Democrat to make. The Democrats had control of this building, the White House, for 4 years, and they didn't do a dang thing when it came to transparency in regards to Jeffrey Epstein and his heinous crimes. It was this president who directed the Department of Justice and the Attorney General to do an exhaustive review of all files related to Jeffrey Epstein, which they did. The Attorney General and the FBI, led by Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, these are great patriots, some of the most trusted voices in the Republican Party movement. It's part of the reason the president appointed them to these high law enforcement positions, and they spent many months going through all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein, and they concluded what they found in that memo, which they drafted and they released. And so the president has been transparent. He has followed through on his promises to the American people.
Okay. I want to know again, what part is the hoax? Which is it? This has got to be the fifth or sixth iteration of this bullshit. Now it's a hoax, but it's Biden's fault. The timeline here, and I really wish there were more people in the media that would continue to do this. The timeline here ain't mathing, all right? Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in 2019. Donald Trump was still president. He was president. This had nothing to do with Biden. He was prosecuted and arrested, right, with a 60 point indictment, 60 count indictment. That was not under Biden. You know who got caught in this with trying to pull this shit? Bill O'Reilly on News Nation the other night. Now, I don't watch News Nation, so I saw the clip. But he was on with, I think, Leland Vittert. Okay. But to his credit, at least, he pointed out, because Bill O'Reilly tried to pull the same thing, because you know what happens. What happens is the talking points go out from the media, from the White House for their propaganda machine to all their minions. And then they stay on message and repeat the lie over and over and over and over and over again. So Bill O'Reilly got on air and tried to pull the same timeline, which was incorrect. And Leland Vittert checked him on live TV in real time. It was very embarrassing. The clip is worth watching Bill O'Reilly look like a jackass because he is one. But this is the same thing. Caroline Leavitt is repeating the same bullshit. The majority of what happened with Jeffrey Epstein happened under Trump. The Biden administration had nothing to do with it. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted and sentenced to 20 years, rightfully so. She was like a madam in a terrible sex trafficking operation here. And she got everything she deserved. And Epstein would have also if he hadn't met his demise. So I just don't understand how this has anything to do with Biden or Obama or anything else. Because the last time Jeffrey Epstein was prosecuted, and it was very questionable what happened to that, was back in 2007 with Alex Acosta down there in Florida. There's, he got a slap on the wrist. They had all this evidence, got a slap on the wrist, and he basically served jail at home. He was like an in-house jail sentence. And it was bullshit. And he went right back to doing his dirty deeds. So I just don't know now. And this is why it hasn't quieted down, because the math isn't mathing here. Their bullshit is overwhelming because it's provably false, but yet they keep spewing it. So Trump has gone on now and attacked his own supporters, calling them weaklings, saying that they're somehow in cahoots, and protecting, he doesn't know what's going on with his boys and his girls, and saying how wonderful Pam Bondi is. I mean, she was the Attorney General of Florida. Why didn't she do anything about Epstein back then? Why is nobody asking these questions? Because God forbid that people in the mainstream media do their jobs. But their playbook here, it has not changed with trying to deflect. But what has changed is the response. His people aren't buying it. Now, the Charlie Kirks of the world and all of that, who were all up in arms last weekend, turn it around a little bit now. And we're like, oh, we trust that Donald Trump's got it. And we're just going to, trust that. Because I guess they got a strongly worded phone call from Trump, who was pissed over the weekend with all the infighting and all of that. But that was many days ago. And 5 days, a week is an eternity in politics. And this is not quieting down. It is not quieting down, because this week, the Democrats forced a vote on this, on to release the Epstein Files. And then Republicans were like, oh shit, we're actually going to be held to account for this. I believe it was Byron Donalds who introduced the bill originally to do this. I mean, they are really punching themselves in the nuts here over and over again with this, because they thought this was going to come back on Democrats. Instead, it's blowing up in their own faces. And Elon Musk is back trolling about this. I mean, it's not going away. Donald Trump only seems to have reactions to things like this where he's completely out of control when he's super guilty. It's clear he's afraid of something, because the more hysterical he becomes and the more nonsensical and the more outrageous and the more all caps long Truth Social posts there are, the more this has gotten under Donald Trump's skin and he's afraid of something. So this story is far from over. And the crazy part about this is that the loudest calls for the transparency on these files, it ain't coming from Democrats. They can't blame the Democrats for this. Democrats are just smart to hop on the bandwagon and be like, oh, okay, it was you guys who wanted the files released. We're okay with that. We don't have anything to hide. We're perfectly fine with that. So release the files. And then the Republicans are like, oh, wait, So take a look at this.
You have some prominent figures, including the Senate Majority Leader, the House Speaker, voicing support for the files to come out. Representative Massey collecting signatures that would force a discharge petition for a vote on the floor for this. It doesn't seem to be going away. What is stopping the administration from just redacting any sensitive information, grand jury information, and putting out what is appropriate so that the American people can decide and then let this story die?
Well, in terms of redactions or grand jury seals, those are questions for the Department of Justice. Those are also questions for the judges who have that information under a seal, and that would have to be requested, and a judge would have to approve it. That's out of the president's control. He has said, in agreement with some of the leaders on Capitol Hill, that if the Attorney General and the Department of Justice come across any other credible evidence, they should provide that to the American people. The president has said that, and he agrees with them on
Why
that.
did you fire Maureen Comey?
The Department of Justice did, and I would defer you to them. Dasha.
So much dodging and weaving and defensiveness. I mean, there's a lot here because it's not making sense. They clearly have something to hide. And the fact that it was Thomas Massey. See, the discharge position thing, for those who don't know, I used to work on Capitol Hill. I worked in Capitol Hill as a staffer. I was a communications director for 7 years. And a discharge petition is when you basically bypass the normal rules and you get enough members of Congress to basically fast track it to the House floor. Because usually the Speaker of the House controls what legislation gets there or not. There's all kinds of like parliamentary maneuvers to keep bills on or off the floor. The Senate's way worse than the House with that. But a discharge petition, basically, if you get enough people, I forget how many now, it's been a while, but it's like, I don't know, 2/3 or something like that, to sign on, then it has to come to the floor for a vote. And Thomas Massey, if you guys remember, is a thorn in the ass of Donald Trump. He's the Kentucky Republican who basically was the only one who told Trump to kick rocks on for the budget bill. Now he's doing it based on like super uber right-wing principles in his mind. He's coming from the right of them and trying to hold Donald Trump to account for, I guess you could call it, consistent intellectual consistency here with what conservatives claim they believe. Whatever. Massey's on an island and Trump is, so they don't like each other. And he's already threatened to have him primaried. And Massey's pretty safe in his district, which is why he's pushing back against Trump. So that's interesting that it's coming from Massey. He's got some cover. But here's the thing about this too. It's like the people who are calling him out now on this are people who have a pretty strong pulse on the MAGA base. So I don't know. I don't know how he's going to make this go away because he's tried. He's like gone down the list and he's tried multiple bullshit lies to do this and it's not working. And so Democrats, by getting involved in this, I think it was a smart move for them because at least it looks for now, because it looks like at least they're fighting for something and they're like, we don't have anything to hide. So, okay. But where I got a little concerned is that I want them to be able to do more than one thing at a time. It's almost like, in military strategy where you need to be able to fight like two fronts of a war and win both of them at the same time. That's kind of what Democrats need to do politically. And I just wrote a Substack about this. I have a Substack as well. It's called Uncompromised. So if you guys haven't liked and subscribed to my Substack, please do. I just posted this today about it. And I was explaining how the Epstein stuff isn't the only thing that Donald Trump is lying to people about. He's also lying about what's in that big bullshit bill. We call it the big, beautiful betrayal because it is a betrayal. Just like Donald Trump is betraying his own people on a lot of things, including this Epstein stuff. He's betraying his own constituents, and Republicans have betrayed their own constituents when it comes to what's in this bill. And the Recision Package, which is passed this week, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute too, which is basically legalized the Doge cuts, it is going to hurt people. So while Democrats were still focused on Epstein, we can't get distracted with what else is going on. And at the Seneca Project, which is what I do every day, our super PAC, we're a content organization. And we decided that we needed to put out some kind of ad to counter this propaganda tour that Trump is on and Vance is on, because they're out here going to swing districts to try to sell their bill. This is all going on while the Epstein stuff is happening. Trump was in Pennsylvania for an energy summit. And then on Tuesday, and then right in Pittsburgh, I believe. And then right after him, J.D. Vance showed up in a Pennsylvania district, Pennsylvania 8, that is a swing district that a Republican took out a Democrat by 1 percentage point. So there's a freshman Republican there. And the whole thing was about pushing the big, beautiful bill. Now, I asked around to some of my Democratic friends, and I said, what are you guys doing to counter this messaging? Do you have a counterpunch? What are you guys doing here? Because they're still out here pushing this propaganda and pushing lies on the American people about what this bill's going to do. I got to tell you guys, I got crickets. I was unaware of any organized Democratic effort to counter message J.D. Vance going to this very important swing district. A district like this is what the Democrats need to win back if they think they're going to win the House. No, nothing. So at the Seneca Project, we got together, my team and I, my co-founder, Michelle Kinney, we said, we'll do it. If they're not going to do it, we're going to walk the walk. I talk all the time about you have to go on offense, offense, offense. Well, Democrats did a good job of going on offense on the Epstein stuff. But now you got to go on offense with the other things because Epstein is eventually going to go away. What's happening to the American people because of this bill is not. It's only going to get worse. So you got to set the narrative now. You can't wait for a year from now or 6 months from now. You got to start now. If the Republicans are doing it, you need to do it because they never stop. So I think we have it loaded in. I'm going to show, this is a 30-second ad that we put together to tell people just something. We have to have something. We geofenced the location so that people could get it on their phones while they're going to the J.D. Vance event, and also a larger swath of that Pennsylvania district. So if we have it, it's 30 seconds. It's called The Big Betrayal. Big Beautiful Betrayal. That's it. That's the name of the ad.
Donald Trump betrayed you. Did you know Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill is taking away your health care? It's closing hospitals in your communities. It's kicking your mom out of her nursing home. It's taking food away from hungry children. And it doesn't even reduce our debt. All to make these guys richer. It was all a lie. Does that sound beautiful to you?
Does that sound beautiful to you? Turn it around on them. A quick 30-second. Democrats should be funding things like this in every swing district. It shouldn't fall on us, a little super PAC that is funded by small dollar donations and folks like you guys to do something like this. But apparently it has. And so, we would love to scale it up. If people want to donate to the Seneca Project instead of other places, at least you know where your money is going. We would love to scale it up and follow J.D. Vance or Trump or whomever when they go out on these tours and you inundate them with this. We would love to do billboards, and you can do digital trucks. You could do all kinds of things. It's important to send the message that Donald Trump is betraying people. And it's not just this. So I just wanted to let you guys know that at least there are people fighting back. And, Mary's on our advisory board and has been very supportive. And we are out here fighting back, and we're an all women led team. So leave it to the women to fight back. But that's another thing too, because for us as women, it just burns us that Donald Trump, who is so awful to women, who hates women, who's been an abuser of women, who's a predator when it comes to women, is getting away with it, or has gotten away with it. He got reelected, for God's sakes. And we know that his history of being awful to women is well documented. We did a whole thing called Predator about Donald Trump and Epstein and things Donald Trump has said and gross things he said back during the election of Seneca Project. We actually re-released it. We called it Protector back then. Now we call it Predator because given the circumstances. But we're not the only ones. There is a history of this. It goes back decades. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were BFFs for decades. And people are starting to come out of the woodwork now. That's how you know this is getting out of hand. Donald Trump has no control over the narrative. There was an interview on CNN's Erin Burnett show the other day of a guy who's the former president of Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. And this is what he said.
And, one incident that I think kind of, proves their closeness and how much they hung out together. One time, on Monday morning, I came in and the commission was waiting. The inspectors were waiting in my office. And Donald and Jeffrey had come into the casino in the wee hours of Sunday morning, 1:30 in the morning. Two buddies. They had three women with them, and the commission was waiting for me because they had determined that the women that they brought down were underage to be on the casino. And when I asked them how they knew that, by the way, one of them was the number 3 ranked tennis player in the world. Okay. And this guy happened to be a tennis fan. And he said, Jack, I know she's 19 years old. Okay. So, and to get on a helicopter with a friend and 3 other people and fly down to Atlantic City, I mean, you can connect those dots.
I mean, what more is there to say? What more is there to say? I suspect there may be more people, but why folks didn't come out before? Perhaps they were intimidated by Trump and Epstein. I mean, a lot of people don't stay quiet about a lot of things, but I suspect that there's going to be more stories like this, and I hope more people come forward. They need to know. I mean, if you have nothing to hide, then what's the problem? I just will continue to go back to that. Donald Trump, how many times did he make disgusting comments about his own daughter? When Howard Stern said, "Oh, can I say this about Ivanka? She's a hot piece of ass," or whatever he said, and Trump was all like, "Yeah." Or when he talked about Tiffany when she was a baby, about what traits does she have, and he said that she was voluptuous like her mother. Like, who talks about their daughters like that? Or when he was asked, what does he have in common? What do they have in common with each other? When he did a joint interview with Ivanka, and she was like, golf. And he was like, I was going to say sex. Blah, blah, blah. I think that was on The View. I mean, gross. Who talks about people like that? Bragging about walking in on girls changing during the pageants because he can, because he's the owner. I mean, he said in his own words that Jeffrey Epstein loved beautiful women as much as he did. He just likes them on the younger side. I mean, it is well documented. So as this continues to go on, we'll all be watching it because I'll be very curious to see where this goes. Now, that wasn't the only topic of conversation during this presser today. Donald Trump's health came up again because there's been pictures going around with his swollen ankles, with the bruises on his hand. This has been going on, speculation about what the hell's going on with him. The weird pictures of his pants with a catheter or something in there. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in there. It's all gross. Ugh. But we all know that Donald Trump isn't exactly a shining example of health. And so when you see things like that, people who have older dads or grandpas that exhibit similar signs, they're like, yeah, that usually looks like heart failure or something else. Certainly not of the fittest guy to ever live, and he's going to live to be 200 or whatever bullshit Ronnie Jackson said during a press conference back in the day during Trump won, when he was the White House doctor, Mr. Pill Prescription Pusher himself. But today, it has gone so bad because it was at the FIFA thing where he crashed the FIFA trophy ceremony. We talked about that on Monday, and it was embarrassing because they were like, get the fuck out of here. We don't want you here. Well, there were pictures taken of him sitting, and he saw his ankles. They looked terrible. And then his hand. So this is what Caroline Leavitt actually said today. She said that Trump was diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, and that the White House's explanation for his swollen ankles at the FIFA World Cup was because of that. But it was benign. There's nothing to see here. And the bullshit excuse for the bruises on his hand, it's from too many handshakes. It's from taking aspirin because he's on an aspirin regimen, and from shaking so many hands. Yeah, okay. Okay, we believe that. I mean, we can't believe anything that comes out of here. Shaking hands. Get the fuck out of here. But I know that Mary has a longer video talking about Trump's health, because for all the reasons she would know. So I'm going to keep this part short because I don't want to spill, spill what Mary's going to do. But when she does it, she will have a lot more detail about Donald Trump and his health and the years of him lying about it and then paying off people to write notes about what great health he's in. We can all see with our own eyes The guy's not in great health. But anyway, um, quickly, I wanted to talk about the Recision Package because that was something else that's been flying under the radar while the Epstein stuff has dominated the headlines, along with, like I said, the budget bill, but also this Recision Package. Basically, what that is voting to take away money that has already been authorized and appropriated by Congress, which is what Elon Musk was doing with Doge, all those cuts and all the stuff that he was doing. It was legally dubious because people are like, wait a minute, these are programs and agencies that have already been funded by Congress. You can't just get rid of them. Well, unless Congress comes in and takes the money back. Well, that's pretty much what they've done. They did it in the middle of the night last night, 2:30 in the morning. The Senate decided to pass $9 billion in cuts, which includes basically bankrupting PBS, NPR, and it will devastate rural areas because a lot of rural areas depend on NPR for their weather alerts, and it's the only way they can get their news and weather alerts. So if there's a tornado, if there's an earthquake that's just happened in Alaska, and so they're taking that away, and Big Bird and great performances and all the things that Mr. Rogers, like all the stuff that we grew up with as kids. Republicans have had a hard on for this for decades because they think it's too woke or whatever, which is absurd. And they finally got their wish. And this goes along with getting rid of USAID, basically bankrupting that agency. A lot of our foreign aid and our soft power, that where we've helped countries around the world, they have now passed that, and it goes to the House. So it's up to the House now if they're going to approve this $9 billion package and rolling back the funding for all these things. And I just think it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Again, another opportunity for Democrats to hang this around the necks of Republicans as an albatross going into the midterms. But they've got to define it now why this matters. Because taking food out of hungry kids' mouths and taking Big Bird away. These people are just cruel. They're just cruel. They're ghouls, all of them. And it's gross. What else are we going to talk about? Oh, yes. Speaking of cruel and gross, Pam Bondi had a trip today. And you know where she went? Because this is such a priority for the Attorney General of the United States. She went to Alcatraz. Yeah, that Alcatraz. The one in San Francisco, that's a tourist destination now. That's a place where people go it's like a museum that's been closed for 60 years, where Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage made a pretty awesome movie called The Rock. I mean, that's where the Attorney General of the United States spent her time going today. Why? Because Trump is actually serious about refurbishing Alcatraz and reopening it. These are not serious people. What are we doing? Seriously? It's all about optics, because Donald Trump thinks that Alcatraz, it was the toughest jail in the country, and we're going to reopen Alcatraz because he's got this wacko toxic masculinity idea of what toughness is and what cruelty. There's a reason it's closed. And we already have a facility that houses the worst of the worst. It's called Supermax. It's in Florence, Colorado. I've actually been there. Yes, I have actually visited the Supermax facility in Florence, Colorado, where all the worst of the worst of the worst are housed. From terrorists from foreign terrorists to domestic terrorists to mass murderers, the worst of the worst. And it was a surreal experience. I will talk about it another day. But I was there in my capacity as a congressional staffer, working on a case, and actually interviewed a mafia hit guy who was imprisoned in Supermax. Now, I don't understand why do we need to waste money, taxpayer money, refurbishing Alcatraz, which is a relic, okay? Because Donald Trump wants to put on a show. This is dumb. This is stupid. They're talking about waste, fraud, and abuse. What about that? I just don't get it. I don't get it. But that's where Pam Bondi was. And they're actually talking about this. Like, we should be mocking this. I mean, Congress has to pass it, but like, we should be mocking this and being like, this is asinine. This doesn't make any sense. For the money you're spending on refurbishing a freaking relic museum, that money could have saved X amount of jobs or fed X amount of children in the programs that, or saved X amount of moms and grandmas from being thrown out of their nursing homes because you want to do some stupid vanity project because Donald Trump has some sicko fantasy about what's tough and what's not. It's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And when they were asked about who's going to be in this facility, just listen to Pam Bondi. I can't. Just listen to this.
It could hold middle-class violent prisoners. It could hold illegal aliens. It could hold anything. This is a terrific facility, needs a lot of work, but no one has been known to escape from Alcatraz and survive.
This is real, people. That wasn't a parody. It's not a Saturday Night Live skit. It's the Attorney General of the United States. Senators voted for her to put this person in this position. What are we doing? This is insane. Middle-class violent prisoners? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I can't. It's bad enough we've got the alligator Alcatraz down there in Florida, in her old home state, which is a human rights violation, not letting lawyers see their clients. People are being denied their due process. It's unconstitutional. It's cruel and unusual what's happening there. And they're imprisoning American citizens on top of it. They're just screwing this all up. It's a bunch of Donald Trump's buddies making millions and billions of dollars off of these contracts to do this, because it's what it's really about, enriching those people, and also the cruelty, because Donald Trump is a sicko, right? And constitutional rights be damned. Come on. This is outrageous. But we have to keep holding their feet to the fire, because this is not just not okay. Ever. It should never be all right. Well, here's another thing, talking about constitutional rights and law and order and what matters and why all of this matters. Today, and I give the Senate Democrats and the Judiciary Committee credit for this, Cory Booker being the loudest voice. This guy, Emile Beauvais, you've probably heard that name before. Why? He was one of Donald Trump's defense attorneys. He used to be a federal prosecutor, and he became a defense attorney, and he was there with Trump through all of his problems. And he got a top job at the Justice Department in the beginning of the administration this year. And he was the guy that was telling people inside the Justice Department, according to a whistleblower, fuck the judges, fuck their rulings, we don't care, deport people, we'll ask permission later. Once they're off American soil, it ain't our problem, not our problem, no, we don't care. I'm sorry. That's not how things work in a constitutional republic, okay? But these guys don't care. So he was one of the people that was leading that whole extrajudicial, let's just fly people out of here, with the whole Abrego Garcia case and that plane full of folks that were, a judge said, turn it around. There's some question here. Beauvais was like, I don't care, go. He was the guy behind that. He's now up for a federal judgeship. These are lifetime appointments. Lifetime appointments. And they have to be Senate confirmed. This is like a no-brainer. Could you imagine if Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Bill Clinton or any Democrat had ever put forward someone for a lifetime judgeship who said, to hell with what judges say, we're going to violate the law, screw that. Are you kidding me? Republicans threw hissy fits for way lesser things for liberal judges who were up for confirmation. Never mind basic upholding the Constitution. Like, that's your number one job. You've got one job as a judge, right? And here we have this guy who is now one step closer to getting confirmed for a federal appointment. This is what happened today in the Judiciary Committee. You have to vote him out of committee before he can go to the full Senate floor for a vote. And this is what happened today.
Breaking news on Capitol Hill. A dramatic moment just happened in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Democrats walking out of a hearing on the nomination of Trump official Emil Bovee to a federal judgeship. Take a look.
To pass jurisdiction and pass precedent. Why are you doing this? This is outrageous.
This is a kangaroo court. That's what we have here,
This
Mr.
is
Chairman.
wrong. To violate your own rules without going by the mandates of the parliamentarian. This is unbelievable. There's a way to do this. If you want to force this through, if you want to ram this through, there's a way to do it in accordance to the rules as spelled out by the parliamentarian. It is simple. It is clear. There's a pathway to achieve what you're trying to achieve. But, sir, this lacks decency. It lacks decorum. It shows that you do not want to simply hear from your colleagues. This is absolutely wrong. You are a good man. You are a decent man. Why are you doing this? What is Donald Trump saying to you that are making you do something which is violating the decorum of this committee?
More of that, please. More of that energy. There should be that level of energy for virtually everything that comes out of those committees, whether it's in the House or in the Senate, because that's what it takes. Call them out on their shit. Make them explain. What are you doing? What are you afraid of? What's the problem here? I mean, not for nothing, but Chuck Grassley is 250 years old. He should retire. Enough is enough. And Chuck Grassley would have been one of those guys back in the day that still respected the institutions. Because I remember when I had friends that worked for Chuck Grassley. I have friends from Iowa. I've been to the Iowa State Fair. It's a good time, by the way. Eating lots of things on a stick and the butter cow. It's wonderful. However, this Chuck Grassley is a husk compared to who he used to be. And he used to be an institutionalist that would never have pulled this shit. But now they're all in the cult and everybody is just awful. All of the rules don't matter. They're a bunch of freaking hypocrites, and good for Cory Booker for making a big deal about it and putting them on notice. Why are they doing this? I mean, unfortunately, it didn't stop the vote because they're outnumbered. But they can put a blue slip. They could hold up the judicial nominations, because just look at what Republicans did to Democrats. There's a playbook for this, and Democrats need to take a page from it. But all 12 Republicans voted for this guy, and it's going to go to the Senate floor. Let's see what happens. Let's see. All they need are 4 if they stop this nomination. Again, this is a lifetime judicial appointment. It should matter. It should matter to everyone. It may seem like it's just like, oh, what's another? It matters, because you see what happens with judges. Now, some might argue that it doesn't matter if they don't care about the Constitution or judges' orders anymore. But it matters. It is virtually impossible to get rid of a judge. There's only been a handful, I think like 3 judges, federal judges, ever impeached from their judgeships, and it's usually for corruption. So once they're there, they're there. And this guy is bad news and shouldn't be anywhere near a federal bench. So on that note, today, talk about good trouble. We know that there were some good trouble protests that were coordinated in honor of the great John Lewis, and I'm glad to see that. And so that's what we need to do. We need to keep getting into good trouble and pushing back, because no one's going to save us but us. We're going to end, of course, on the emotional support moment. But before we do that, if you guys would like to see more from me, you can always follow me at all my socials at Tara Setmayer. I'm the only one. You can follow the Seneca Project if you want to see more of what we're doing there. If you want to hear more about what's going on today, my co-founder Michelle Kinney and I, we host a show on YouTube called The Stakes at 7:30 tonight. You can check us out. We also do a show called Over It on Wednesdays at noon and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. So follow us if you want more from us. And let's all send good vibes and hugs and prayers to Mary and hope that she feels better and she'll be back soon. Because we need more Mary. we need more Mary. Mary, we love you. We hope you come back soon. And on that note, our emotional support moment, I'm actually thrilled about this. We got cats on Monday, which I am a cat mom proudly. And today we get the beach. As a Jersey girl, I grew up going down the shore my entire life. From the time I was this big, my mom would take me down the shore, and it is my happy place domestically. So anytime I'm near the beach, near the waves, near the water, whether it's in Jersey or Italy or where other places I've been blessed to go, the ocean, the sound, it is the best. So let's enjoy it all together, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great evening, everyone.